So journalism.co.uk, it's a site for journalists, aimed at journalists. It started in 1999, which is why we have the domain. It started as a jobs board, and the guy who owns the company started off by supporting that part of the business with a photography agency. And gradually over time, it then learned to stand on its own 2 feet. And we started off covering all sorts of things that journalists might be interested in. And, you know, a couple of years ago when I joined, we were doing a pretty good job at kind of, you know, covering what's happening in local newspapers, covering what's happening in, you know, national newspapers, in digital, and kind of had a very broad reach. But with 3 staff, it was tough. Then the Leveson inquiry kind of came, and there was always 1 or possibly 2 out of the 3 of us sitting in front of a computer screen watching Leveson, writing up notes, and I kept saying, why are we doing this? And it really made us think, because we were so pushed and because we'd hired a freelancer in to help, and we had spent a lot of money on covering something that everybody else was covering. So we said, okay, let's stop playing catch up, let's stop chasing the news tail, and let's think about what we do best, what we want to do. And we kind of went from a 3-person staff of journalists to 2 people, and actually our story count went down, but our traffic went up. So we now think of ourselves as kind of this lean operation, and I kind of like to think of it as lean journalism. So that really means kind of assessing what you do and what you do best, and leaving other stuff to other people. So for example, we take the line, if somebody else has covered a story, let's just retweet it. Let's share it with our community of 75,000 followers on Twitter, and our Facebook community, and our communities on other platforms. Why do I want to, as a journalist, it's boring to write that story that everybody else has just written. Oh, this, you know, the New York Times has got this new strategy, or whatever the story might be. Let's just retweet somebody else, and usually we try and find the original person who did that story, and then we move on. It gives us time, it frees us up. We therefore just write original news, original content. So we'd like to think of that as all about innovative stuff going on in the digital journalism space. It's all exciting. I mean, it's just, you know, for any journalists who kind of are scared by digital or feel threatened by digital, I mean, I don't think there's that many conversations going on anymore that perhaps were going on 5 years ago, but it's so exciting. I mean, just the free tools that are out there in terms of storytelling. The things that I particularly like are the ways that you can use social in particular to get to new audiences and to get to new sources. So for example, you know, the way that communities online kind of, you can suddenly be doing a story if you're a journalist on Libya and gather thoughts from people in Libya by SMS if you're wanting to get to people who aren't on Twitter. And just to use the power of technology, the power of free stuff, to use that in kind of news gathering. You don't have to be on the ground if you know how to do stuff in that kind of, in that digital space. The real advent of when local news sites started doing online video is probably around 2007, 2008. Some nationals have been doing it for a while before that, and you know, it was all kind of exciting, and then people would share, you know, quirky stuff of, you know, sloths cuddling cats, and cats on skateboards, and dogs on skateboards. And then now video is being used in a much more powerful way. There are new ways that brands, or rather publishers, are kind of innovating in ways to make money. For example, a lot of the magazine publishers in this country are doing quite interesting stuff. So if they're a brand, Dennis Publishing, for example, has got lots of car titles. So what they're doing is really quite kind of HD, high quality video that people like my father-in-law watch online, and they love to watch these flashy car videos, and they're getting loads of hits, and they're generating revenue from YouTube. They're helping power the newspaper, the print brand, the magazine brand. They're finding new audiences for that print brand. There's other titles. Future Publishing is doing lots of stuff with video. Interestingly, the CEO of Future used to be at ITV, so rather than being a kind of with a print background, he's a TV person, so he gets video. Vice is a great example, which I know started in Canada, but it's got a big operation here in London, and they're doing interesting stuff, struggling, you know, with different models of how you make money through advertising on video, but they're doing lots of stuff with brands, and constantly kind of reinventing, and have got this deal with HBO, and, you know, doing lots of new stuff.